Hello, everyone. Let's see. I'm going to hold on for just a second as we get set up. I'll be joining Nadia Ahrens. I'm waiting for her to join, and we are going to be talking about Chiron. Oh, here we are. Here's Nadia. Let's see. Okay, come on. You can do it. All right. Thanks for your patience as this is... Here we are. Hi, Nadia.
Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm wonderful. And thank you to everyone who is joining in. I see a bunch of friends. So, Nadia, we wanted to talk about Chiron today, huh?
I know. I have a bunch of questions for you. So should we get started?
Yes. So we wanted to talk about Chiron today because we are opening up, or the doors are already open to our collaboration together, our workshop, Chiron and Midlife Awakening. So, gosh, let's dive in. What do you want to know about Chiron, Nadia?
Aside from everything, because I will be doing the healing and you're going to be doing all the astrology. But tell us, who is Chiron and what is the significance of Chiron, especially during the midlife time?
Oh my goodness, yes. So in astrology...
In 2 minutes or less.
Yes, in 2 minutes or less. Go. In astrology, Chiron is, in mythology, Chiron is known as the wounded healer, and there's several different stories about Chiron, but basically he comes with a primal wound of his mom abandoning him. Like when he's born, he is not loved. He's part centaur, he's part human, he's neither this or there, right? So lots of different things around belonging. But he ends up being raised and he becomes this amazing healer because he gets slashed in the foot by a poison dart that should have killed him, but doesn't kill him. And so as he looks to, heal his wound, he ends up learning all of these different healing modalities. And while he can never heal himself, he is a world-class healer that people travel to go to him because he can heal them. And so Chiron represents in our lives the things that we can heal in others, that we're searching for healing, that we can never fully heal in ourselves, but teaches us that we are perfectly complete regardless.
Oh, that just made me want to cry hearing that story, honestly. It's an empath soul. So Chiron is a small planet?
Oh, yes, good. It's a centaur, so it's in between a dwarf planet and in between an asteroid. And so there's a centaur belt with all these different kind of bigger objects in the sky. As I'm holding my grounded tourmaline, we can think of this as an elliptical object in the sky that crosses the orbits between Saturn and Uranus. So it has a strange orbit. But what I've noticed that in a lot of my client charts and, even with you and me, Chiron is so prevalent in our charts by aspect. And what I've noticed is that when Chiron was discovered by astronomers in 1977, astrologers always believe that when there is this new entity coming into being or coming into human consciousness, that we are then ready as a human for this kind of collective awakening, this new consciousness. And so thinking back to 1977, what has changed in humanity's ability to see themselves as these wounded healers, that there's no such thing as a perfect leader, or perfect healer, and how we can really turn those wounds to wisdom.
So then why is Chiron so prevalent during the midlife awakening?
Ooh, such a good question, because Chiron takes about 50 years to go around the zodiac to return back to the place that it was when you were born. And so we all have Chiron in our charts somewhere, right? People I know clients come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, Chiron this, Chiron that. I'm like, hold on. We all have Chiron in our charts somewhere. So you're not the only person. But so in midlife, when Chiron returns around that 50 to 51 range, when it returns back to its natal point, up until that point, you are really being asked to heal those core wounds or bring them into consciousness, to intentionally work with them in your lives from this place of wisdom and sagedom, instead of being just kind of weighted down by unresolved woundings.
Oh, I love that so much. And humanity and our planet so needs this. It's like it's all about dismantling all of these societal expectations and pressures that we all were born into. And it's really about breaking free of all of that and being our most authentic, truest self, so that we can give back that second half of our lives.
That I think that piece of authenticity that you talk about, right? The authenticity is this vulnerableness of like realizing and recognizing and reflecting on the challenges and the experiences that you've gone on in life, and not saying like, oh my gosh, like woe is me, why did this happen to me, or feeling such a victim, but now to see this as a place of empowerment and awakening, like you said, to feel that second half of your life. And so when we're looking at the midlife transits, those kinds of midlife awakenings, that Chiron return is like the caboose of the train, the end of those midlife transits that say, here you go. You're healed now. You really need to be giving back those wounds as in forms of wisdom. Oh, thank you.
Well, it's such a beautiful, like when you look at it in terms of the soul's journey, it's like the first half of of your life is really, in essence, like accumulating these wounds, right? As part of the journey, so that you could heal them. So then, it's almost like a roller coaster, right? You're just like going up.
Oops, I lost your sound. Oh, Mercury is still in retrograde. Yeah, you did, but I can hear you now.
It's the roller coaster. We're at the tip of the roller coaster, and then we're going to ease into the second half of our lives so that we can heal those wounds and continue on with our soul journey, because we're all here as souls on the planet so that we could evolve and grow. So we have to look to Chiron in order to move forward.
Yeah, I think when we look at Chiron in our natal charts, we can look at Chiron by its sign and its house placement to kind of give us the insight as to the core wounds for which we are looking to heal and to find answers and meaning in our own lives. And when we have that insight about like, hey, this is kind of that seed that we can anchor into to solve, and then start adding meaning into our actions and our life and our work, that just adds so much depth. And then when we start to look at Chiron by transit, meaning moving Chiron throughout our chart and the cycles that come, that roller coaster cycles that we can actually chart and see in a natal chart and timeline, then we can feel like, oh my gosh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that we're not just being subjected to like wave after wave after wave. We're like, oh, we are in this cycle, this climate of Chiron.
So a quick question. So what does that mean for somebody who's about to get into the Chiron aspect of their chart, and they might be like, okay, I know something might be happening, and how do I prepare for it?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So preparing for it, you can just have an open heart and know that there are going to be your primal wounds that start coming up. And we talk about that primal wounds. We're talking about the wounds that you've already had from that time you were born to about 10 years old. By that time, like, society, education, family, culture has already kind of like created the patterns in you that you're already looking to resolve. And so come when Chiron starts to get close to that return point, which just, for me, I'm already there. I just started. The Chiron return is going to be a nice 5 years for me. So yay. sometimes it's like 2 years, and Chiron takes its time. But as we've been learning, that the duration of a transit can sometimes put the pressure, spread out the pressure over a longer term than having something really acute happen when a transit happens really quickly. But you'll start to recognize some of those stories, those narratives that keep on coming back. And hopefully at that tail end of your midlife, you can see it not as a trigger in terms of like, oh, here I go, like going down that spiral again, but a trigger or a glimmer that says, okay, now what are you going to do with this in a more evolved and empowered way?
And I always ask my clients, why did this happen for you instead of to you, right? Because it's the victim versus, okay, what did I need to learn as a soul from this experience? And then you could really just grab those nuggets of wisdom and teachings and feel empowered despite whatever the core wound was. Why did this happen for you? What is it that we need to learn?
Nadia, I love that. Why did this happen for you?
Yeah. And just changing those two little words, 2 to 4, changes your entire life trajectory. Because there's empowerment, like I said, in it. And it's like, okay, there's a teaching in this. What am I attracting into my life? Who am I attracting into my life? And how are they a gift from the universe for my soul evolution? Whether it's a relationship, a job experience, a loss, a breakdown, whatever it is, or breakthrough, as I like to call it. But why it's about opening up that soul part of you instead of having it just patchworked with human conditioning.
Yes. And what's so beautiful about the astrology part of that healing is by sign and by house placement of Chiron, also looking across the chart, there's a polarity that happens that shows us the themes that need to really be integrated. And you were asking about like, well, what is something that people can expect? I'm super, super grateful that I have this astrological language and healing language in my pocket, because as I'm entering this Chiron return, like I've been having a lot of conflict with my little 6-year-old son lately, this little boy that's really triggering some of my childhood wounds. That's exactly what it is. And I just found out a couple days ago that my mom is moving into hospice. And so it's bringing up, like, you can't make this up. This is like textbook classic. It's bringing up all of these childhood wounds from when I was this littlest child about, is it safe to be me? Am I being heard? Am I being seen? Do I get to take up space? Right? And so that's what I can look forward to finally resolving during this Chiron return. Because now I'm like, I don't feel victimized, like, woe is me, but like, as you said, what is this experience happening for me?
Right. And boy, are our children ever the teachers, right?
Oh, our children. Nothing like having a child.
They're older and wiser than, the parents in terms of soul, old souls.
Oh, for sure.
Just like we were to our parents. It's just like, we just, it's like, okay, here's my greatest teacher right now, and showing up like my daughter or your son or, whoever. But why is this happening for me? So do we want to talk a little bit about what we've got going on starting October 17th?
Yes, please share, Nadia.
So it's a 4-week workshop called Chiron and Your Midlife Awakening, and it's every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific. And how we've broken it up is the first half is going to be Leslie talking all things astrology, and it's going to be amazing. And then each week will be a specific topic. And then I will be doing what I call a hypno healing, which is a guided journey back to your core wound. And I always like to preface it, and we'll talk more about this in a different IG live, but your wise self and your higher self is always in charge of these sessions. So it'll be gentle, and it will also, your wise self will give you a memory for you to heal that is gentle. And so, because people always get a little like, where am I going? You're going to remember everything. It's going to be amazing and gentle, and a very creative journey specifically directed to your core wound and healing it and what to do moving forward. And we'd love to have you. You want to add anything, Leslie?
I would love to add, so in over 4 weeks, we'll be discussing a different core wound, and plus looking at all of the players in your midlife awakening. So you know the questions to ask and kind of a general timeline. And then the hypno healings that Nadia will be guiding us on, we're going to be doing this as a group collective healing. And if you haven't yet been in a group collective healing, even though you're working with your own inner story and inner narrative, there is something spectacular and magical that happens even if people across the world come together in a collective group healing. The power of everybody helping each other out is just amplified.
Yeah, and it's just a very sacred space, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful experience. So can't wait to join forces.
Yes. So today we wanted to share a little bit about Chiron. And so if you have any questions, please share them in the comments about Chiron. We'll be coming back for another IG to talk about Uranus and Uranus's part in midlife awakening. And then we'll be sharing over the next couple of weeks the things that Nadia will be doing with her sacred hypno healing, and just really answering the questions that you might have about working with Chiron in your midlife awakening. Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome, Melissa.
I miss Melissa. All right. Well,
great.
We will see you on the flip side.
Beautiful. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.